is also a recognized self-regulatory organization in the context of social stock exchange by SEBI. In today's webinar, we're going to talk about the benefits, the process, and the compliances involved when a non-profit organization registers on social stock exchange. And to talk about that and provide to you a real-life practical perspective, we have distinguished speaker from Mumbai Stock Exchange, Social Stock Exchange, Madam Aishwarya Ahir. Madam, we welcome you to this particular session for taking us through the entire process and the practical nuances, how non-profit organizations actually get registered on the social stock exchange. But before I hand over the session to Madam Aishwarya, I would just like to set the context and set the perspective right for the session that we are having today. India is today already the fourth largest economy of the world in terms of GDP numbers. And we have set for ourselves the vision of Vikasit Bharat. And we have sort of tweaked our development model, which now is going to be based upon the tenets of inclusive and sustainable development. That's where we are looking at Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, that the benefits of development should not only remain available only to a select few in the country, but should be widely available even to the people at the bottom of the pyramid. That's where the social organizations, the non-profit sector has a huge and very, very significant role to play in building inclusive and sustainable Vikasit Bharat. Even otherwise, there are many experts who believe that GDP is not a true measure of the level of development of a country. Even United Nations agrees that real development is when the quality of life of the people improves in a country. That's the real index, or that's the real indicator as to when and how a country develops. So social organizations or non-profit organizations are playing a very, very important and significant role at the grassroots level in practically all thematic areas of sustainable development goals, as well as the various CSR activities that we have prescribed in Schedule 7 of the Companies Act, and also the eligible activities prescribed by SEBI in the context of social stock exchange. Non-profit organizations are actively pursuing their objective of improving the lot of the people, creating livelihoods, improving health, improving education, improving skill development, protecting environment, protecting biodiversity. In every area, practically, they are playing a great and significant role. But as it is with practically every sector, we've been conducting these kind of workshops and programs pan-India, even in tier 2, tier 3 cities. We find that the non-profit organizations are impacted by various problems and they have lots of concerns. And pen down maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe even 20 of their concerns that we have come across while talking to them pan-India in various programs and workshops. But if I may just summarize, there are basically three key issues that the NPOs are facing across the world, more particularly in India. The first issue that they face is that of credibility. There is some sort of a trust gap or a trust deficit. All of us donate, contribute money to some of the other causes which are very, very close to our heart every year. But then because there's no formal structure, architecture of feedback, reporting, or any other kind of information flowing back to us, there is always some kind of doubt in our mind. I don't know where my money is getting spent for the right cause, for the right project, not because I don't have any kind of feedback report information coming back to me. And that creates a trust deficit between the non-profit organizations and the other stakeholders. The second issue faced by the NPOs is regarding visibility. A non-profit organization may be doing a great job in a particular geography, but then they may be well known within the periphery of maybe about 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, but possibly beyond that. No one even knows that such a particular organization exists. Forget about knowing as to what they are actually doing at the ground level. Visibility is the key challenge. And the third challenge that NPOs face is that of funding. Every time you got to have and implement a new project, you got to check out donors, prepare your pitches, contact various investors, contact various people who are willing to contribute to a particular cause. And once with great difficulty, you are able to get reasonably adequate funds for a project, you are not exactly too sure whether you're going to get the same level of funding even next year. For the continual, sustainable operation of that particular project or for development of a new project, funding is a huge challenge that the NPOs face. Now, keeping in view these three challenges that the NPOs face and the need for Viksit Bharat being built on the tenets of inclusive and sustainable development, our Honorable Finance Minister, in her budget speech of 2019, made an announcement that we're going to connect the NPOs with the capital market. How companies become big, how companies scale up, because they are able to leverage the capital market. Why should NPOs not be allowed the benefit of connecting with the capital market, leveraging capital market for doing the kind of great work that they are doing at the ground level? And that happened in 2019 budget speech by the Honorable Finance Minister of India. Thereafter, the process started off by setting up of a working group, a technical group, reports were submitted, stakeholder engagement happened, and finally SEBI wide amendments made in ICDR and LODR on 25th of July 2022 operationalized the social stock exchange in India. Now, the social stock exchange is operating in both BSE and NSE. It's not that it's something new for India. This experiment has been carried out in 8-9 other countries across the world. But for various reasons, as of now, only 4 stock exchanges are operational: Jamaica, Canada, Singapore, India. Malaysia recently has started a pilot project with the advisory provided by India. They have started a pilot project. Let's see how it progresses in the marketplace going forward. So it got operationalized in India in 2022. It's almost been 4 years now. Exchanges started actually going in for registration and listing on the social stock exchange a few months later. So practically just about 3 years, maybe a couple of months over 3 years, that we have been having the operationalization of social stock exchange in India. In this particular period of last 3.5 years, we already have about 200 NGOs which have registered and 16 NGOs which have gone in for the next stage, that is listing. Let me clarify, unlike a normal corporate, which can directly go for listing on a main board, but in the case of social stock exchange, it's a 2-step process. In the first step, you got to register your NPO, and second step is after registration, you migrate and you move to the next level, that is the listing, which happens on the social stock exchange. So we have about 200 NGOs which have registered and 16 NGOs which have gone in for the listing, and the aggregate amount raised so far is about 45 crores. A big amendment, as some of you may be already knowing, was made by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs on 1st of June, that 10% of the CSR funds of the corporates now are allowed to be routed through the platform of social stock exchange. And we all know that total spending of CSR expenditure in India is of the order of about 35,000 crores. It's a huge amount. 10% of that flowing through social stock exchange is really going to give a big boost and a fillip to the whole evolution and development of social stock exchange in India. So once an NGO or NPO registers on social stock exchange, it immediately gets the benefits of credibility. That's because exchanges follow a very comprehensive and thorough process of due diligence before an NPO gets registered. So once an NPO gets registered on the social stock exchange, people know for sure that this NPO has undergone a very thorough due diligence process and therefore it is a credible organization. And then visibility. Once the name of an NPO appears on either NSE or BSE or both for that matter, anyone across India can have a look at that, can see that this is an NGO whose name is appearing there, and you can check out what are the activities of that NGO and what is the operational performance of that NPO over a period of time in last few years. And of course, the benefit of funding will be available only when you go to the next stage of listing. But let me make it very clear here. Listing provides you the funding through the portal of social stock exchange, but that's only an alternate source of funding available to you. NPOs can continue to engage with their existing stakeholders, existing donors, existing investors, but this is going to provide to them an additional avenue where from possibly they can source the fund for their future projects. But you get these benefits, the credibility, the visibility, and the funding support once you are within the architecture of a regulatory framework, with SEBI being the regulator, and they are also being monitored and regulated by the stock exchanges, where an NPO may decide to register, there are also going to be certain compliances which you will have to take care of. So here we have someone who is dealing with these kind of matters day in and day out. Madam Aishwarya from Social Stock Exchange, Mumbai Stock Exchange, BSE. She is going to take us through a presentation as to how registration actually takes place, what is the process involved, what are the common pitfalls, what are the common problems that are encountered both from the perspective of BSE as well as from the perspective of NPO. And she's also going to take us through the particular relevant application form. Yes, she's going to show us that particular form that is used for registration and take us through line by line as to how to go about filling that up so that you can submit your application and get registered on the social stock exchange. With this brief context setting and perspective, it's time now for me to hand over the session to Madam Aishwarya from BSE SSC. Madam, it's over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good afternoon to everybody.
Good
And
afternoon.
thank you for setting such a lovely context. I think you have made it easier when it comes to
Thank
setting
you.
the context. I think you've covered all the major points from human development index to how these are important for the pillars that there are for the social stock exchange, including the credibility, including the visibility and the funding channel that comes through, right? So welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining in. I know today is a public holiday for most of the guys
Yeah.
working. So thank you so much for giving your time. Uh, so just for a brief introduction of mine, so I am Aishwarya. I work for the Social Stock Exchange at BSE. Prior to this, I was working with SBI Foundation. I have been a fellow and I was working with partner NGO called Urmul Trust in Rajasthan. So I come from the social sector.
Yeah.
So all the not-for-profit present here, I do understand the pain points, and I would do
Yes, please.
highlight that. I understand how difficult it is to understand the process because it's a very new concept to India and
Mm.
from not for profit. And just for a caution, I would say that don't get overwhelmed. Though the processes are very new and very different, but we will make sure that we handhold through the process. So I would just like to share my presentation.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it visible? Is visible?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, just how Sir just mentioned about it, how the idea of social stock exchange in India, though there are 7 to 8 social stock exchanges which were introduced in the world, few are right now functional, and the idea and the concept of these exchanges or social stock exchanges for that matter has been different. Um, the one that India has is more to connect the capital market with the social good. And the kind of benefits that this offers is what Sir also said that you have to be visible. You have to be findable to be fundable, right? And we coming from the not-for-profit side, we understand how important it is to gain this. This platform does offer you that visibility. It offers you to explore the new funding channel. There are about 22 crore demat account holders on the social stock exchange or the exchange platform, right? It's a very untapped sector, and which offers you the avenue to grow. And the guys who are with the mindset of growing, it is always better to not have all your eggs in one basket when we talk about the diversification of funding, right? This platform offers you the kind of diversification of funding that is required as you're enabled to raise fund through the one issue that you raise, through institutional donors, through retail donors, through CSR now that the new amendment has come in. So it opens various avenues for you to tap into. Yes, the framework enables improved compliances and visibility in terms of transparency that it holds. So before we move to the registration process, I would just like to take you through the architecture of, right? So Social Stock Exchange, when it was announced in 2019, after that the working group, as Sir said, were introduced, and after that in 2023 was when the first listing happened. Yeah. So the architecture's main hold is the primacy of social intent, right? When we say social enterprises in social stock exchange context, it means the not-for-profit and the for-profit enterprises as well. For right now, we would focus on the not-for-profit one. Yeah. So a not-for-profit gets registered, and when they want to actually raise funds, they list their particular project. Example, you are a not-for-profit working in education. You register your organization and you want to raise money for that particular education project. You raise or you list that particular project on the exchange. Yeah. So there are certain eligibility criterias, and the security that the security or the instrument that is you utilize for the listing process is ZCZP, which is the zero coupon, zero principal instrument as well, which is the social venture fund, which is social impact funds. But right now we'll be focusing on ZCZP and also on the registration process primarily. Yeah. For the for-profit entity, it's the normal route like an IPO, where the main board, the SME, and all those that route is followed. Yeah. When I talk about the primacy of social intent, right, there are broader areas which are there in the SEBI framework and outlined by SEBI, which are an amalgamation of the CSR and SDG goals. When I say CSR, it includes, with the recent amendment that has come in last year, in September, it includes the Schedule 7 activities that are under the focus areas for social stock exchange, right? So total, there are 17 focus areas. So as a not-for-profit, when you look at the eligibility parameters, so one is the focus areas. You have to tick one of the focus areas. You might be working in education, you might be working in livelihoods or hunger or poverty elevation. All of these, you should at least tick one of those, right?
Hi, Ashwara, sorry to disturb in between. Can you make
Yeah.
it full screen?
Oh, sure. Is it not full screen? I'm sorry, I didn't get the.
No, I can see the side slides.
Oh,
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you so
Now it's
much.
fine.
thank,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the nudge. It was important. Yeah. So yeah, as I was speaking about the broad focus areas, there is also one more criteria which talks about tapping into the underserved and the less privileged population. So as a not-for-profit, you at least should take one of the focus areas. The second is you should be working for the underserved and the underprivileged population that there is. Like some mentioned about the aspirational districts, the HDI, which is very important for Viksit Bharat, right? And the eligibility, when it comes to the financial eligibility, your last year's funding should have been minimum 10 lakh rupees, and your last spent should have been minimum 50 lakh rupees. You should be or a charitable trust or a trust in general, and a Section 8 company. You should have demonstrated work for the last 3 financial years. You should have a valid ATG, a Darpan ID, and now a CSR1 registration, because if you want to later on access the CSR funding through the listing process, you would be enabled to do that, right? So your ATG and 12A must be valid for up to 12 years when you file for the registration process. So I think this is a very basic requirement that there is, and a not-for-profit tend to have all of these normally all of these in place. So there are certain barred organizations for social stock exchange. There are organizations with political and religious affiliation, or you can say the organization who are political or religious in nature are not allowed. There are corporate foundations, there are professional or trade bodies or infrastructure housing companies, except those who work in the affordable housing. Example, Aga Khan, affordable housing. So if you are somebody who are working affordable housing, you are eligible to register. Other than that, these organizations are barred from registering on SEC. So the social stock exchange at BSE, the payment or the registration fee charges are 5,000 rupees plus GST, and the registration is valid up to 2 years. Yeah. As per the recent SEBI circular, the registration is also extended for a year. So as a not-for-profit, if you register, you are registered for a period of 2 years. You're allowed to register for a period of 2 years without raising funds, plus an extension of 1 year, subject to SSC's approval. So just to take you through the registration process, we have made it a 5-step simple process just to make it easy and just for ease of business. So once you go through the eligibility criteria and you fit into the eligibility, you sort of go to there's a register your interest form. You fill that form. That form has basic details of your organization name, the name of the office, or basic details. The only ask that would be is when you fill on the person and the email ID of the person, not-for-profit tend to keep it more generic, like an info.@ something. So that the point of contact for us is that email ID, right? So any information that is shared from our end is through that email ID. So it is just a request that if you keep a more generic email ID, because the OTP also goes to that email ID. Yeah. So once you fill up that form, that information comes to us internally, and you get a login ID from us for our internal portal called the Listing Center portal. And once that is done, you can submit your documents as per a registration checklist. I will also take you through the registration checklist. So a registration, once you fill up the documents as per the registration checklist, our internal team receives it on a portal, check it. And once that is done, we would intimate you for the payment. The payment is only done once your documents are approved. Yeah. So once you make the payment, we issue you the letter of registration, which is valid for 2 years. And your name is displayed, as you can see on the screen, on our SSC website. Yeah. So before we go on to the compliances, I would just take you through the registration checklist. Yeah. Yeah. So this is our website. You can go to our website, click on the register your interest, fill up this form. Is it visible? Is there any blocks or anything on the
It's visible,
screen?
ma'am.
It's visible? Okay, thanks. Yeah, so you just fill up these basic details and you submit it. And also we have kept the eligibility and the registration checklist options here as well. So you might as well want to have a look at it before you fill the form, just for the ease of business. Yeah. So this is the registration checklist. It has 4 annexure and it is mapped to the eligibility criteria. Yeah, it entails the basic ITR of last 3 financial years, your ATG, your MOA, AOA, or your trust deed. Yeah. The Annexure 1 deals with what kind of organization are you? Are you a Section 8? Are you a trust? Or are you a society? Yeah. So a not-for-profit should not be having 50% of their funds coming from one corporate source. Yeah. The Annexure 2 deals with the financial criteria that there is. So your last financial year's spending should be at least 50 lakh rupees and your last year's funding should be at least 10 lakh rupees. So this is what the Annexure 2 looks like. This Annexure 2 has to be signed by a practicing chartered accountant. The Annexure 3 deals with the focus area, like I mentioned. So you have to tick at least one of those. And the barred organization. You have to take any one of those. And Annexure 4 deals with what your mission statement is, what your organization actually does, what your organization has been doing since the last 3 financial years, right? And there is an authority letter for representation. For example, you have authorized a person in your organization to do the registration process, right? So you just have to give on a letterhead as an organization that this so and so person is responsible, or we authorize this person for the registration process. Yeah, that's what the authority letter for representative is. If you have any impact reports for your projects or your organization in general, you may submit that. And a general governing body details, your staff members, just to get an idea of what your organization is about. Yeah. So this is what the registration checklist is. It's a very simple checklist. We also have, if I could take you through that, we also have made a step-by-step registration guide of our listing center. It's more external focused. So I would also take you through that. Just a sec. Yeah. If you have any question as of now, I would be happy to take that as well, just in case. Yeah. So this is how the registration.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. So
Sure.
one of our clients' company has been incorporated on 25th February 25. So
Okay.
when it will be eligible? Because first
25th
year
Feb
can be
2025.
25
Because it has-
February 25. First year can be
Okay.
because he has 2 options. He can close first year on 31st March 26 or first year on 31st March 25.
So just if I've gotten it right, your organization has been 2025.
It's a
Yeah,
new company, so I think you need to
No,
have a minimum
yeah.
3 years old PAN and
Yeah.
IT exemption available with you, sir. So you need to wait for 2 years before you are eligible for registration.
Okay. So 2 years from the date of incorporation or to
No,
complete
3
spelling?
years, sir.
3 years.
sir.
Three,
You
three,
must have a
three.
PAN which is more than 3 years old, and your income tax exemptions also should be at least more than 3 years old.
Yeah.
Another,
You have to
yes, sir.
demonstrate
Okay.
you have to demonstrate a track record of your organization as a functional one for 3 years, for 3 financial years.
Another question is there. Generally, outside donation and grants generally are not available until you show some concrete efforts yourself. So can we take loan from some companies and show expenses of incur expenses, show demonstration of 50 lakhs, then will it be eligible? Yeah,
When we
okay, your
talk about
condition is 10 lakh donation
right.
and
When
50
we
lakhs spending.
when we talk about expenditure, we talk about expenditure towards the target population,
Agreed,
which
agreed.
is, yeah, towards the project that there is.
Yes.
Yeah, so
So we want to, just I have a question that we want to take loan from somebody and incur expenditure out of that loan.
okay. I think this is more like a compliance-driven question. You can file for the registration process, and a compliance team will have a look at it and give the required response.
Agreed, agreed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Aishwarya, I have a question.
Yes.
It was mentioned that the funding source, 50% funding source should not be from like one funding agency.
Yeah. In case you are a
So,
corporate foundation. Yeah.
in case we are okay, okay. So
Corporate
it is not
foundation. So the corporate
applicable for.
foundation, yeah. So how do you bifurcate? I mean, for example, if you're a corporate foundation, how do I know that the funding comes from one source and multiple source? So the criteria is that the funding should not be there from one single corporate,
Yeah,
which is
but
more
then
than
like see, we are a Section 8 company, and if we have funds from two corporates or two CSRs are giving us
Hmm.
funds. So one is say all paying 50 and another one is paying 50, then we are not eligible.
It's more of a compliance call to take, being honest. I think you can file for the registration process and then we can actually have a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answers.
Aishwarya ma'am, I had a follow-up question to Mr. Gupta. So
Okay.
3 years is the requirement to be mandated to list or register on the SSC. Does CSR have the same requirements, a 3-year cooling off period as per 135?
Does the CSR have the same requirement as what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Because I think
Just
the
to
whole
get,
purpose is to harmonize CSR with
I know
SSC,
in
right? With the,
CSR, the project can be undertaken either by the corporate or it can be implemented by an implementation agency. The implementation agency that the corporate engages with also needs to be at least 3 years old.
okay, sir. So it's harmonized, Dr. Gupta, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
similar
Got it,
provision
sir.
exists in CSR.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
So, madam, you can proceed with your presentation. Once we are
yeah,
through,
Yeah.
then we can have some
yes,
other.
yes, sure,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
madam. Hi, madam. Very good evening. Sorry, very
Yes.
good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
This is Surendra from Kurnool district, Andhra Pradesh. In 2026-27, we done one program in 16 lakh program, but it is annual audit goes to 2026-27, but we done by 16 lakh program in this year. But how I audit consider 16 lakh program?
So can we park this question for a while and then we can take it later on? Will that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
thank
take
you.
questions. Let madam finish the presentation. It will break the flow. Let her continue right now, and then we can
Yes.
take all the questions. Sir,
Yes.
madam.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So just coming back to the step-by-step guide, this has been made in light of the registration requests that we have received to just help them through and handle them through the process. So it takes you through how to register right from the website to the documentation filing, right? This is a form that you submit and there's this login that you get. And once you log in, you select the registration sub-process in the social stock exchange. And after that, you submit the details as per the registration checklist that there is. Yeah. So this is how the documentation section looks like. You have to just submit it here. Yeah. So when you open the constitution of entity, it takes you to what kind of organization you are, right? Like I said, if you're a Section 8, you might tick on that and submit the registration certificate of your organization on this. Once you have done that, you can move to the second one where you have to submit your trust deed, submit your bylaws or MOA or AOA, whichever is applicable, in the documentation related to the registration of the entity. And your Annexure 3 has to be submitted in the third section, as you could see here in the green highlight. In the Annexure 3, once you open, has the same details as you can see in the registration checklist Annexure 3. So it's the same format that is applicable here as well. Yeah, you have to attach the Annexure 3 here once you click on it. It's a very thorough guide. This is just to take a glimpse of it and make you understand that there is a supporting document that we provide for you to handhold. Yeah. In case if you don't have GST, we would like to have a GST declaration, and we will share the format with you once you initiate the registration process. Yeah. And once all the documentation is submitted, you make the payment, and the payment options are also here. The only ask is once you submit the details, right? Yeah. And once there are any pending documents or any documentation that is required from our end, once we check it, we would want you to resubmit or submit a fresher set of document on the same case ID. So you get a case ID once you submit the document, right? And once you get that, you log in again and just click on track your issue. This is a practical problem that we face, is that they tend to upload a new file and a new case, and it takes on multiple cases to have a look at. So it's just easier. You can just go to track your issue, and there would be the set of, so like here you can see the case number here, and you just click on the case number which you had submitted earlier and just submit the pending documents there. So yeah, that's how you get the case number, and you have to just note it for any further communication related to that. So that's how the process has been. And the fee payment will only be done for documents which are approved. So you can see that the status of your case will be visible here, as you can see. Once the case status shows approved, you can proceed with the payment. Yeah. So that's how the guide is. We would be also sharing that guide with you after this webinar. We tend to share the eligibility and also the details which are important for the registration process. I would ask Gupta sir to please share it with you all.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yes, just to take you through the post compliances for the registration process. So there are post compliances, or we call disclosures, for the registration or the registration. So you have to submit annual disclosures. So there are two forms which have two different formats. One is Form 1A, which tend to deal with more governance related and more organizational related information that you have to submit. And the Form 1B tends to deal with the financial part of it, like your ITR or your audits or your balance sheet and all of these aspects, right? Just to facilitate with the compliance calendar of the not-for-profit, SEBI has recently changed bifurcated the date of submission. So Form 1A has to be filed within 60 days of the financial year end. And the Form 1B, which deals with the financial disclosures, has to be filed by 31st October, or whichever is the income tax date, whichever is the latest. Yeah, so that's how the annual disclosures submission timelines look like. And if there are any event-based change, what is an event-based change? So any change in your organization which has a material impact on it has to be reported to the exchange within the 7 days of that. So, example, your board of director is changing, right?
Yeah.
It has a material impact on your organization. Yeah. So you have to submit that to us within the 7 working days of that event happening. So that's how the registration process and the compliances are. And these compliances are self-reported, to be noted. You don't need to have any social impact auditor to do it for you. Yeah. So that's how the registration process and the compliances are. I would be happy to take any questions if there.
Yes, please. Can we have some observation, views, or queries from
Yes.
the members present here so that we can
Yeah.
try to address it?
I hope I was not too fast. If I am, I would be happy to take you through it again.
Ma'am, I had 2 questions. I was trying to
Yes.
do an empirical study based on the documents that are available on the Social Stock Exchange. When I go to the BSE Social Stock Exchange, I only see, number one, that the FRD is only available for 4 of the 16 organizations, and there is no indication of the funds raised by BSE and how many were uniquely listed to BSE, ma'am.
So
I'll
social
just
stock yeah, sorry.
I can
You
pin the
want
link
to?
on the group chat. This is what I was looking at, ma'am. I see only 4 FRDs available because I know that the FRDs go through a public comment review period. I don't know whether
Yeah.
I should assume that the draft is the final in those cases where it's blank. And second, how much are the funds that have been raised by the BSE as an exchange specifically?
Okay. So to answer your question, so Social Stock Exchange is a common platform. 2 exchanges are the one facilitating this platform,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So the 16 listing that has been happened, 2 of them had been on both the exchanges, which is NSE, BSE, which you could see it is Unnati and Swami Vivekanand. And the 14 that had happened, those are on the NSE platform. If you want to have a look at it, you can have it on their website. You can
Yes,
see
ma'am.
the FRD filed. Yeah, the looking at right now it is of our upcoming issues that are scheduled in the month of July, and the DFRDs which are there, which are in the pipeline, would be submitting the FRD and listing the project soon. So I think that's the list of BSE exclusive. Yeah.
All right, ma'am. And how much funds has the BSE exclusively raised for the SSCs?
BS exclusively raised would be starting right now. We have 2 in pipeline which are about to raise. We have the biggest DFRD file, which is of 23 crores. So yeah. So there are listing projects that are in pipeline which will soon unfold. So
Okay,
we
ma'am.
would
So
be
not in the
having
last
a
3
look.
years. So not in the last 3 years, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Unnati and SVYM has been listed on BSE as well. It was listed on both the exchanges. So I think that rounds up around 2.5 crores or something.
Yeah, they were small ticket
Yeah,
listings.
small,
Yes,
small,
ma'am.
because
Yes,
they
ma'am.
did it at a very initial stage
Yeah, they
where
did at 50 lakhs,
ATG,
etc. Yeah, Ramesh, she did
where
at 50 lakhs.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
yes, ma'am.
he
I
was
think I
not
got
even
the
there.
answer,
So
ma'am.
I think,
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, any more questions? I think there is something in the chat as
Has,
well.
ma'am, just
Yeah.
someone has asked that
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
whether the funds, I mean, as per the requirement, the funds raised should be 10 lakhs and spent should be 50 lakhs. Now, to fill the gap of 40 lakhs, if somebody is borrowing, is it okay or not?
So as I said, it's a compliance call to take. I'm not
Because
from the
you see,
compliance
I don't know
background.
why this kind of a requirement is there. Because raising of 10 lakhs and spending of 50 lakhs is being a social organization. I think they will not be eligible to take a loan also. So how do we meet that requirement?
The criteria has been set way before. So
I know the criteria is there, but what is the logic behind this criteria?
So
it
there is
was
a
way before
social
the
stock exchange. advisory committee, and before that there was a
Yeah.
working group and a technical group.
That is okay, Gupta ji.
With that
I mean, I've
wisdom.
not been able to understand that this difference, that
Yeah.
how, if by somebody is raising the 10 lakhs, how will they spend 50 lakhs?
So the whole concept is the organization has to be minimum 3 years old. So we are looking at the financials of one particular last year, but over the period of last 3 years, on a rotating basis, rolling basis, they would have generated funds, they would have spent funds. So possibly they would have had surplus in the earlier 2
Accumulated.
years, which they were
Yeah.
able to spend in the third year to be able to comply with the requirement. I mean, because looking at last 3 years financials, not only last one particular year, there is a
Yeah.
threshold for last one particular year, but the funds possibly would have accumulated over the earlier 2 years. I mean, that's what is there. But of course, it has been developed based on the wisdom of the members of working group, technical group, and now the social stock exchange advisory committee. But over a period of time, a lot of tweaking in the rules and regulations has been done. We'll take up this concern at the next meeting of advisory committee, and let's see if some change is brought about by the SEBI and the advisory committee, sir. But
Thank
the
you.
point is well taken. Point is well taken.
Second point is that once an IPO, then once the NGO is going for an IPO,
Ji.
and since NGOs, these IPOs are of a small size, 1 crore, 2 crores, 3 crores, they can't engage a merchant banker, they cannot make a publicity in the newspapers and all. And you said that there are 22 crores Demat account holders. Is there any way out that suppose an IPO has been decided and you as a BSE exchange can communicate to such Demat account holders about these upcoming IPOs of the NGOs? Because it is not possible for the NGOs to reach out the investors. So what help can be extended by the BSE or NSE in reaching out to the prospective donors?
Yeah, I absolutely understand that there is a requirement in terms of understanding how to market your issue.
Yeah.
Yes. As per SEBI regulation, there is no requirement banker which does help them with the road shows and all of that, like an IPO does, right? Yeah. But there has been not-for-profits who has been helped by their own negotiations through, for example, if HDFC, for example, just hypothetical example, sir, not to quote anybody, but just HDFC having donated CSR money to a not-for-profit, right? They already know what the not-for-profit is doing. As an exchange, my customer is not a retail customer. My customer is a bank or is a broker, right? My business is B2B. So the entry through this 12 crores is through the banks or broker. So if a not-for-profit already has a relationship that they share through a CSR funder, that can be HDFC or any wealth advisor or any of that sorts, they can actually help them in marketing their issue or sharing the details of their issue. Because as an exchange, I'm legally bound to not share any details, because if I do it for you, yes,
No,
right?
but the
So
point
I
is,
don't.
I think this is worth considering, and we have noted down. We'll take it up at the appropriate level, including in the
Yeah.
Social Stocks Advisory Committee, because this is one of the very, very important roadblock in the whole development
Yes.
of the SSE ecosystem. Because if NGOs are not able to raise funds from the retail public in general, if they have to fall back upon their own donors, investors, why should they go through the route of SSE? They are happy even otherwise. Why should they get into regulated architecture, all kinds of compliances? So this point is well taken up, and we will definitely take it up, sir, at appropriate level as well as with concern.
Thank you. One more question is very
Yes, sir.
pertinent question while dealing with this drafting the DFRD or something like that. You see, the format of the DFRD as of now is like a normal IPO is being drafted. It's a very comprehensive document which a NGO is, I mean, or the consultant or the NGO has to prepare. And there is a lot of queries from the BS Stock, BSC and something like that. And it's taking a lot of time to get the approval of the DFID. Can it be something like, since it is a very small issue and there should be some changes, some basic only requirement should be there in the format for the DFID?
You are saying about the time required, if I'm just understood it right.
Time as well as the whole set of information which is to be given in the DFID.
It's there. I mean, if you go to our listing checklist, there is in a section
But if you look
for
at the existing DFIDs, you see that it is running into hundreds of pages.
Hundreds of pages.
Is it worthwhile to, for a NPO, for a NGO to do that much of exercise?
Yeah, very important point. Very important point.
there are, I mean, I understand it's a quite a heavy of a document, but there are certain chapters. I mean, your point is well taken, sir. There are certain compliances or financial requirements that are required from an exchange standpoint, and I think yes, a relook at it can be a possibility.
Yeah, certainly.
And yeah,
So
and
just as
Required to
SEBI
be
has
need to be
diluted
relooked.
requirements for
yeah,
many cases, like you talk about BRSR, so you have core BRSR, you have light BRSR. Simply in the
right.
same manner, the DFRD for SSC should also be simplified and should not be as cumbersome, as comprehensive as in the case of normal IPO kind of thing. So
Yes,
this point
yes.
is also well taken, sir.
Actually,
Thank you.
this
Yeah.
cumbersome exercise is limiting the entry of the NGOs
Absolutely,
into
absolutely,
this SSC
absolutely. People are taken back, you know. Yeah, that's right.
because of the time taken for the registration as well as for listing. It is a huge exercise.
Got it, sir. Certainly sure. Any other viewpoint, please? Any other queries?
So may I?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Ashwara ma'am. Although my query is not regarding the IPO or the DFRD right now, it's all about the registration procedure which we are having from 2023. So I'm among the first 100 person who have registered with the ICMA SAO.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
my okay. So my query is that I have passed my social audit. Earlier it was social audit. Now it is social impact assessor. So I have passed the same in 2023. But what we are feeling in present time that we are facing the same thing, that we are at par with some mutual fund advisor or the insurance kind of person who needs to get their renewal thing on a 3 yearly basis. After every 3 year we have to again attempt the exam and all. Why it is not as like the valuer, like those we are having the valuation thing? Once we clear the exam and register yourself with some organization, it is the permanent thing. By on every 3 year basis we have to register again for the exam, again we have to pay the renewal fees to our social auditor organization, because
Understood.
because we are professionals, ma'am.
Okay.
So this is as per
What
SEBI
our
guidelines.
organization is doing currently for the professionals like us?
This is as per present guidelines of SEBI. We have taken it up already, but no final decision on an alternate.
Sir,
available-
because in the month of April only a new guideline came into existence, like the ECP exam.
ECP.
But sir, what about those people who have registered in the month of March 2023 and the registration get over in the month of March 2026 and they again need to appear for the exam?
That's right. That's right.
Although
So
we are
the
not
regulation was not.
exams.
I mean, it was prospective. It became effective as on a particular date. For all those who missed out that cutoff date for whatever reason, I mean, it's not applicable. But I think that's how it is as per the SEBI regulations. We'll take it up. We have noted
Sir,
down.
because we can raise some kind of request in front of
Yeah,
SEBI
yeah.
as well.
Yes, we'll
Because
send it.
all three institutes are the professionals ones.
Certainly.
Why they are keeping us at par as with the normal insurance or the mutual fund advisors?
Sure, sir. We'll send a representation. Sir,
Thanks, sir.
report
Thanks
back.
a lot, sir.
Dr. Gupta, if I may ask a
Yes, sir.
question on the SSC fundraising. Ma'am, in terms of retail donors, Aishwarya ma'am, there are no ATG equivalent tax benefits in the new tax regime. And predominantly a large part of our tax filing population has migrated to the new regime. Do you think just to incentivize SSCs, just like we've enabled the 10% CSR route to SSC, there is some merit in incentivizing, just like NPS as well. The NPS rules were also grandfathered in the new regime. Is there any merit for incentivizing retail donors to kind of increase that base? Because what I heard from Kaushalji was that we have about less than 1,000 unique donors so far, but the potential is 22 crore demat accounts like you outlined.
Yeah.
Is there an option to at least consider tax incentives? Because nobody would know about an NGO in Assam sitting in Bangalore, even if it's listed, right?
Sure,
Do
sure.
you think there is some merit in that discussion, ma'am?
Yes, definitely yes, definitely
Definitely.
yes. But the only thing is, it is now linked with the overall architecture of the tax mechanism
Yeah.
that the government has put in place.
Yes,
So, but
sir.
this point also we have already taken it up, because this point arose and people suggested this in quite a few of our earlier workshops also. So we have already written to both Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, as well as SEBI to have a look at that as to how to incentivize retail donors with a view to giving a fillip to social stock exchange ecosystem. We have already
Right.
taken this
Thank you
point
so
is
much, sir.
And
So your
just to
vision is
add,
just incredible, sir.
Yeah.
You're already 10
ju-
steps ahead of
Yeah,
everyone
no,
else.
no,
Yes,
we have
sir.
yeah.
just to add what Sir is saying, that yes, all these points are taken, and that's the reason why this webinars are organized, just to gain in more such recommendations from auditors, from not-for-profit, just to make the ecosystem a better place, right? We have to also understand that
That's
social
right.
stock exchange is at a nascent stage, and it's slowly, steadily maturing. So we do need such inputs coming in, and just for assurance, these points have already been raised, and it's under discussion. But I do appreciate your point. Thank you
I
so much.
truly appreciate
Thank
your
you. Thank you.
candor, Aishwarya,
Oh,
ma'am. I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam, good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir.
I have small doubts. Is it your eligibility criteria 10 lakhs or 50 lakhs? It is up to 3 years or only for 1 year?
Only
For
for
the
last
last
particular
financial,
1 year.
Only 1 year.
Yes, please.
for the last financial year. Yeah.
Yeah, last financial.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more observations, suggestions? We have had some very good suggestions in this webinar so far, all worth implementing. So we have very, very rightly noted them down, and we are going to definitely take it up with the concerned authorities. That's the very purpose of this webinar, as Madam also mentioned. We are here to hear you out and take your suggestions as to how to build the whole ecosystem of SSC together.
I'm sorry, sir. I have small doubts again.
Yes, sir.
Any last date is 365 days is open, sir, website.
So, sorry, the website is open for a duration
Yes.
of, it's all year round.
Year round. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, small doubts, if can I have a small doubts, how can I approach anyhow a team, either consultants?
You can reach out to me. I'll just put
Madam,
the
you can put
email
your
ID.
email in the chat box. So
I'm just doing it.
yeah,
You can reach out to us, and we're happy to take
Sure.
any of your doubts. Yeah.
it's there. ssc@bscindia.com.
Thank you.